The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Good Monday morning. This is Eric Seymour with the National Weather Service in Wakefield with our live Monday morning briefing. We've got quite a bit of weather to deal with this week, so we'll jump right in. Started with the current radar imagery over our area, and you can see there's quite a bit of shower activity still, basically I-95 east toward the coast. This is all in relation to the remnants of Chantal. Gradually, this will be moving off to the northeast today and kind of exiting out, but as it does, I'm still expecting to see quite a bit of shower activity and probably some enhancement across the eastern shore this afternoon, both of the Virginia and Maryland portions of the Delmarva, with the kind of the onshore flow, extremely humid air mass. So as this goes through, expecting to see more activity blossom there. And we'll gradually see on the western side it start to kind of dry out a little bit, just from the persistent showers that we've seen through the morning hours. So let's hop and take a quick look at the current observations. You can see, generally speaking, temperatures are in the upper 70s to the lower 80s, a little bit warmer out to the west where it's not raining at the moment. And then again in the east where it's not raining, temperatures getting up into the low 80s across the eastern shore. So looks like right now that things should be, we'll be transitioning off to the northeast as we go today with the remnants. So looking at the wind circulation, looks like the center that's left of Chantal right now is kind of somewhere up over parts of the northern neck, middle peninsula, and gradually, like I said, that'll be moving to the northeast. So let's go ahead and jump into I'm going to jump into the slideshow and we'll start taking a look at the weather patterns. So you can see today with the forecast, the area of low pressure is kind of that's left with Chantal is pretty much right about where it is right now. So this is as of 2 o'clock this afternoon was when this forecast was supposed to be valid. So we're maybe a little bit ahead of that, but the thing, notice that you'll start to see some enhancement in the precipitation on the eastern shore as we go through the day to day. So that's kind of the expected progression. And then by the time we get to tomorrow, the remnants of Chantal somewhere kind of off the coasts, kind of southeast of Cape Cod at that point. But then we're watching this frontal boundary that's coming in, approaching across the Ohio Valley into the northeast. And notice it kind of comes down, gets down into Pennsylvania, and then kind of stalls out. And that's kind of where it sits really through the end of the week. And each day, it's keeping us in the very moist, humid air mass, and chances for scattered afternoon showers and thunderstorms persist. And probably as we get into Wednesday and Thursday right now, those look to be probably the two best days as far as seeing more widespread type of precipitation. We do have a couple upper level disturbances that'll be rotating through the northeast, through the Ohio Valley into the northeast, and that will kind of help set the stage for us seeing a little bit more widespread precipitation. So hot, humid afternoon showers and thunderstorms. That's the typical summertime weather pattern. So looking right now, we do have a flood watch that's in effect for portions of the northern neck and then up on the Maryland portion of the Delmarva. And that's associated with the remnants of Chantal. So expecting to see more enhanced precipitation up in this region. Again, I think as you look into the afternoon hours, I would expect to see more things start to really blossom up, especially up across the lower Maryland eastern shore. When we look at the rainfall amounts, what I've got in here, this is the day one. So this is valid through tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Notice where we're seeing some of those higher amounts. Again, Dorchester County down in Wicomico really seems to be the target area right now in the models. And then from there, it kind of stretches north up into portions of the Delmarva. But then you also have another little area, in the northern neck, middle peninsula area. And again, that's wrapping around the backside of the low feature as it starts to pull out. So that's really our target area for the heavy rainfall today. And that's why we have the watch. And if you notice in the chances of rain really start to ramp up for Cambridge. You're looking at 12 p.m., 3 p.m. this afternoon. Really, that's kind of that 6-hour window we're kind of looking at for seeing that increased rainfall. Again, Accomack getting out there this afternoon. So, when you get to the farther to the east, things really start to ramp up. And then once we get to around, after probably 6 o'clock, really start to see things taper off, because that's when the center of the system is pulling away to the northeast and pulling up off the coast. So that's kind of our target zone right now, really between 6 and 12 for the heaviest precipitation. And again, the northern neck and up one of the Maryland portion of the Delmarva is really where we're expecting to see the heaviest rainfall, which is why we have the flood watch in place. Now we start to look at a 72-hour total map. And the reason I put the day one is because I don't want folks thinking all 4 to 6 inches of this rainfall is going to fall today. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at a 72-hour window here. And when you start looking at the rain accumulating from not only today, but the scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, and then more numerous on Wednesday, that's when we really start seeing some of these totals ramp up. And these can be a little bit daunting, looking at 4 to 6 inches of rain over a several day period. So you can kind of see the chances of rain really amplifying as we go through the week. And looking at the chances of rain, you're looking at 40-50% chance, more scattered type convection on Tuesday afternoon with the heating of the day. But then Wednesday, it becomes a lot higher. The pops, getting up 65, 70, 75% chances of rain. So again, targeting that afternoon heating time period being the best chances for seeing some of that rainfall. And again, because it's, thunderstorm activity, you're going to see localized amounts that are very heavy. And then you're going to see some areas that maybe not get quite as much. So that's the nature of the summertime rainfall. So if we looked at reasonable kind of worst case scenario across the area, reasonable worst case scenario really starts putting amounts getting up close to 6 inches in Cambridge. And again, you're talking about 3 days worth of rainfall. So not only the rainfall from today associated with Chantal's remnants, but also then the next couple of days. So, we are going to be dealing with quite a bit of rainfall. And again, as we get out into the Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon time period, you're dealing with, showers, thunderstorm activity. And again, so you're going to have some places that may get a higher amount, and then areas nearby that may not get quite as much. So again, it'll be things that we'll be watching. But because of the fact that, we're kind of getting this over a couple day period, there may be some periods in here where we end up having to issue some short fuse flood watches, things like that, when we start seeing areas that have been repeatedly hit, especially, if we get an area that gets hit pretty hard on Tuesday, with knowing more rain's possible on Wednesday, you may see some flood watches that are issued later in the week as we get a little bit more details with the forecast. So just looking at this is kind of a composite for today, and it's a little bit, it looks like a little bit high, based upon, because again, this was model simulated activity, but you can see how it really starts to pivot the rainfall and bring it into portions of the, the eastern shore later on today, and then parts of the northern neck as the system wraps around, the showers wrap around the low pressure system as it pulls through. So, this is kind of what the areas that we'll be watching, again, because we do have the flood watch in place, just to kind of give an idea there of kind of how the system may evolve a little bit. Looking at excessive rainfall outlook, again, you've got the slight risk where we've got the flood watch in place today. And again, that's with the remnants of Chantal. But you do have a marginal risk each of the next couple of days. And again, we're dealing with the showers and thunderstorms. So we get something that kind of lines up where you get several storms rotating over the same area, or something kind of stalls or slow moving. At that point, we could see some heavier rainfall in locations. So right now, there is at least a marginal risk that we'll be dealing with some potential for flash flooding over the next couple of days. And again, as we go through the next couple of days, don't be surprised to see some targeted flood watch areas start to pop up in the forecast and things of that nature, as we get a little bit better handle on where we think the heavier rainfall could develop and could fall. Looking at this, looks at breaks it down for 2 days and then the end of the week. So first half of the week, see quite a bit of rainfall, especially north of Richmond up into the northern neck. And then as we get into the Wednesday, Friday time period, notice it kind of shifts a little bit more to the little bit more southeast. But again, you're talking some pretty good rain amount totals through the entire period. We're looking at over 3 to 4 inches of rain through the entire week. So definitely an above normal week. Above normal rainfall this time of the year is about 3/4 of an inch in a 7-day period. So we're going to definitely be on the high side of that with the pattern that's setting up. And here's your 7-day total. So again, you're looking 3 to 4 inches, widespread 2. I mean, this is quite a bit of rainfall in a 7-day period to have forecast. So again, well above normal rainfall expected across much of the area over the next 7-day period. One other threat for Tuesday, Wednesday time period with the storms rolling in, we could see some gusty winds, some wind damage develop with these thunderstorms. So not really widespread, but definitely some localized, isolated storms that could get a little bit strong. So wouldn't be surprised to see a handful of severe thunderstorm warnings as well over the next couple of days. So it's just the nature of the summertime pattern, and with those waves of energy coming along and moving along that front, kind of helping to provide a little extra forcing to get the thunderstorm activity going in a very hot, humid environment. It doesn't take much to see some stronger wind gusts come down as well. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for as well. So again, you can see the threat for tomorrow is damaging winds, really not expecting tornadic activity, not expecting any much in the way of hail. It would be the damaging wind threat, mostly a straight line wind type of a component. So giving a little bit of an idea, you see the thunder threat along with these thunderstorm activity as well. So kind of the two kind of lining up because that's the environment we're in right now. So a lot of today would be more showery, but wouldn't be surprised to see with the heating of the day, hearing a few rumbles of thunder as well, kind of like what we saw yesterday. All right, wanted to talk a little bit with this pattern change that we should see once Chantal comes out. We should see the heat building back into the area. So you can notice we're seeing an elevated risk for heat tomorrow, again on Wednesday as well. We're dealing with an environment that's extremely humid. So if you start getting the temperatures to bump up, you'll start seeing the heat threat elevate. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised as if we get later in the week that we start seeing some of the elevated values peaking in on Thursday and Friday as well. So because we're going to stay in that same environment, we're really not going to see a lot of change in the temperature. So the only difference would be, are we a little bit more cloudy or something like that to hold the temperature readings down? If we look at tomorrow values, the heat index values, a lot of them pushing up around that 105 to 107 degrees. So with those values, I think you're going to see some heat advisories being posted, especially pretty much really you get out of the Piedmont. Most of the rest of the area is going to meet that criteria. So that'll be something we'll be evaluating today. You may see a heat advisory posted for tomorrow. So with the heat, we got to make sure that folks are taking care, getting plenty of fluids in, finding cool places to be during the afternoon, those kind of things. So just something else to, one other thing to be dealing with along with the rainfall threat, thunderstorm threat that we'll be dealing with. Looking at the kind of the next 7-day period, you can see the heat index values, Tuesday, Wednesday bump up, maybe a touch cooler Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but still we're talking heat index values 95 to 100. And if we get, depending upon the cloud cover and things like that, we could see temperatures a little bit warmer. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday time period. We do have a ridge of high pressure that's gradually going to be building in. You can see as we get to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, those heat index values increasing again. That's what that ridge starting to build over. So this just bears watching, but I mean, just expect at this point in time, we're going to see heat and humidity for the next 7-day period. Not like what we saw, 10 days ago or so, where we were pushing values of 110, but more of our traditional summertime values where, temperatures are getting up in the low 90s. Our heat index values hitting, around 100, maybe a little bit more, obviously warmer as we get toward the coast where the humidity is a little bit higher, those kind of things. So, that's kind of generally what we're looking at. And here's kind of a daily overview at this point in time. So, Tuesday being the warmest day, but again, don't sit back on these Thursday, Friday, Saturday period right now. These values currently being forecast, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see values a little bit warmer, unless the clouds are a little bit bigger of a player and the clouds are able to keep the temperatures down. But generally, it's going to be humid. The humidity is not going to go away, and we're going to be dealing with, the heat and humidity along with the afternoon showers really through the entire 7-day period. And when we start looking at the 8 to 14-day outlook, you're still looking above normal temperatures and still better chances than not of seeing above normal precipitation. Hard this time of the year to get a cold front to go through, and there's nothing right now in the models to suggest that we're going to be able to push a cold front through to cool things off. So looks like we're getting to a pattern, more of a traditional summertime pattern with temperatures in the low 90s, overnight lows in the mid to upper 70s. And it's just humid. So that's just look how things look for the next couple of weeks. Rip current forecast with the onshore flow with Chantal coming in. There's still quite a bit of swell still coming and approaching the coast, so it's kind of enhancing the rip current threat. So right now we're looking at moderate threat through the next couple of days. Maybe by Wednesday things start to back off a little bit, and we get a little bit more of a southwesterly type flow. So we get a little bit of an offshore flow, and that should help to start to quell some of the risk. But the next couple of days, you got a moderate risk at this point for seeing some stronger rip currents along the coast. Marine wise, really seeing a little bit of an elevated threat right now. We do have some small craft advisories up for today for the southeast flow as Chantal pulls by. But once that goes by, things do start to improve on the marine side, and should see fairly benign conditions as we go through. Outside of the shower thunderstorm threat. So you can see the winds are up right now, continue through tonight, and then we start to see things start to weakening and backing off Tuesday, Wednesday, and beyond. So really the threat is for small craft conditions is really today through the tonight time period. So here's your maximum wind gusts and sustained winds. So again, maybe we see a little bit of a surge tomorrow afternoon. That'll be something we'll have to keep an eye on, just with the winds turning more southwesterly. Wave heights, again, it's that swell coming toward the coast with the southeasterly flow bumping wave heights up a little bit higher, and gradually those diminish as we go through the next couple of days as the impacts from Chantal completely go away. Right now, tropical-wise, there's nothing else out there. We do have the remnants of Chantal moving through the area. But beyond that, nothing right now is forecast for the next 7-day period. So it looks like right now, nothing really developing, especially in the broader part of the basin. All right, so that's everything that we have for today. We're going to go back to our normal briefing schedule. So the next live briefing will be on Thursday. So at 11 o'clock on Thursday, we will be back online. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. You can reach us via Slack, or you can call the office as well. We will be posting the presentation here on YouTube, and you can also get the briefing as well. If you didn't get it in your email, you can also get it off of our webpage. If you go to our webpage and go to the icons at the bottom and click on the briefing page, that down there, you can find the briefing page, the briefing on there as well. It's linked. All right, everybody have a great day, and we will talk with you guys again on Wednesday.